Vasudeva or Lord Shri Krishna is the cause of all causes. This is brought out in the Brahma Samhita. We know very well. Ishwarah Paramah Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. So he's the cause of all causes. Everything that exists emanates from the Lord. How this is so is explained in later chapters of this work. Uh, so later on, over the cantos, this point is brought out very clearly. Everything that exists emanates from the Lord. Uh, this work is described by Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya as the spotless Purana because it contains the transcendental narration of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. So even though there are 18 Puranas, the Srimad Bhagavatam is a spotless Purana. It is not an ordinary Purana uh, which uh, simply glorifies Krishna. Uh, it is not like that. It is actually Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam. See, Puranam Amalam, perfectly pure Purana. It is not just like the other Puranas. It is a spotless Purana, and therefore Prabhupada has stated uh, here it is a spotless Purana. Uh, why? Because it contains the transcendental narration of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. It does not depict Krishna merely as an eyewitness saw Krishna. He describes Krishna the way Krishna is factually seen by liberated souls. This is a complicated topic which we will come to later on again. The history of the Srimad Bhagavatam is also very glorious. It was compiled by Sri Vyasadeva after he had attained maturity and transcendental knowledge. He wrote this under the instructions of Sri Naradaji, his spiritual master. Vyasadeva compiled all Vedic literatures containing the four divisions of the Vedas, the Vedanta Sutras or the Brahma Sutras, the Puranas, the Mahabharata, and so on. But nevertheless, he was not satisfied. His dissatisfaction was observed by his spiritual master, and thus Narada advised him to write on the transcendental activities of Lord Sri Krishna. These are all points which are brought out clearly in chapters 4, uh, uh, chapters 4, 5, 6, 7, uh, different parts of these chapters. At least in 4 and 7 they come. These transcendental activities are described specifically in the Bhagavatam's 10th canto, which is considered its substance. But in order to reach the very substance, one must proceed gradually by developing knowledge of the categories. Category refers to emanations. Emanations from the substance are called categories here. Uh, so, the Srimad Bhagavatam's description of the 10th canto, that is considered its substance, and therefore Srila Prabhupada, he presented a summary study of this in the form of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is Prabhupada's summary study uh, for the entirety of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada also requested, uh, recommended, and requested that his disciples would study this Krishna book, which clearly brings out the purport of the 10th canto. He, in fact, recommended that we read the Krishna book every night before we sleep. So, that is the substance of the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. If we bypass the Krishna book and try to read the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, you will have to go through cantos 1 to 9. But in Krishna book, he has brought out the um, intended meaning of the 10th canto directly. It's a very, very important book that is meant to be studied thoroughly by all who are students of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is natural that a philosophical mind wants to know about the origin of the creation. So now Prabhupada turns to the text at hand, and the text at hand begins with Janmadhyasya Yataha. uh, Janmadhyasya yataha. You can clearly see Janma Adi Asya Yataha, from whom creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes takes place. Uh, that is indicated in the Vedanta Sutra and also in the Srimad Bhagavatam to be the supreme absolute truth. Why does Vyasadeva bring up this point? Because it is natural that anyone who is philosophical will want to know about the origin of existence. At night, he sees the stars in the sky and he naturally speculates about their inhabitants. Such inquiries are natural for man because man has a developed consciousness which is higher than that of the animals. The author of Srimad Bhagavatam gives a direct answer to such inquiries. He says, Vyasadeva says, that the Lord Sri Krishna is the origin of all creations. He is not only the creator of the universe but the destroyer as well. The manifested cosmic nature is created at a certain period by the will of the Lord. It is maintained for some time and then it is annihilated by His will. Therefore, the supreme will is behind all cosmic activities. Uh, so, the whole idea is cosmic activities have an intelligent being guiding them by the Supreme Lord's will. Notice this. As we generally say, not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, everything is moving under His will. By His will, everything is being created, everything is being maintained, and everything is being annihilated. Now, we may take it for granted that this creation, maintenance, annihilation, and it being a cycle, since it is brought out so many times in the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, this is something that we all understand very well. But sometimes, when we contrast a description of the universe with some other descriptions within the philosophical systems of non Vedic cultures, civilizations, then these ideas become even more clear. For instance, if we look at this article by Drutakarma Prabhu, Puranic Time and the Archaeological Record, this is, uh, as you can see, this appeared in the Back to Godhead magazine in the year 1995. So I will read a little bit from what he has written here, and you will be able to understand what he's saying. The concept of time used by modern historical scientists, including archaeologists, strikingly resembles the traditional Judeo-Christian concept. Judeo indicates Judaism. Christian indicates Christianity. Judeo-Christian concept refers to a concept that is shared between the Jewish and Christian religious systems, and it strikingly differs from that of the ancient Greeks and Indians. This observation is, of course, an extreme generalization. In any culture, the common people may use various concepts of time, linear and cyclical. And among the great thinkers of any period, there may be many competing views of both cyclical and linear time. That was certainly true of the ancient Greeks. It can nevertheless be safely said that the cosmological concepts of several of the most prominent Greek thinkers involved a cycle or episodic time similar to that found in the Puranic literature of India. So here, Dodakarma Prabhu introduces us to the concept of cyclical and linear time. Uh, the Vedic literature talk about cyclical time, that you start at a certain point, and like for instance, the universe is created, then it is maintained, and then afterward it's annihilated. Again, there's a creation. Again, there's maintenance. Again, there's annihilation. Endlessly moving on in cycles. This is what is called cyclical time. But linear time is not that. Linear time means it starts at one point and it's going to end, and that's it. He talks about it here. When Judeo Christian civilization arose in Europe, another kind of time became prominent. Time going forward in a straight line. Broadly speaking, this concept of time involves a unique act of cosmic creation, a unique appearance of human beings, and a unique history of salvation, culminating in a unique denouement in the form of a last judgment. The drama occurs only once. Individually, the life of a human being mirrors this process. So, with some exceptions, Orthodox Christian theologians rejected transmigration of the soul. So, when you look at the Judeo Christian civilization that arose in Europe, then they start talking of a different type of time. They talk not about cyclical time. They don't say that the universe existed since time immemorial and it will continue to exist for for future for the future forever, and that the universe is simply manifested, maintained, unmanifested. They don't say that. Rather, they say, broadly speaking, that uh, the universe was created at one particular point in time, and then human beings started appearing once, and then they have a means for being liberated once, and there is a last judgment once. The whole drama occurs only once. And even in this very lifetime, you don't have reincarnation. What is reincarnation? Reincarnation is also a facility which appears cyclical. Appears cyclical. I grow old, I'm born, I grow old, and then I die. And then again, I'm given a facility to take birth, to grow old, and then die. So individually also, uh, there is some sort of manifestation of cyclical time in reincarnation. But in Judeo-Christian concept, um, both with regard to the life of the universe and the life of a human being, uh, practically speaking, they also consider that it is linear time. Now, Durtakarma Prabhu continues. Modern historical sciences share the basic Judeo Christian assumptions about time. The universe we inhabit is a unique occurrence. Human beings have arisen once on this planet. The history of our ancestors followed a unique, though unpredestined, evolutionary pathway. The future pathway of our species is also unique. Although this pathway is officially unpredictable, the myths of science project a possible overcoming of death by biomedical science and mastery over the entire universe by evolving space traveling humans. One group, the Santa Fe Institute, sponsor of several conferences on artificial life, predicts the transfer of human intelligence into machines and computers displaying the complex symptoms of living things. Artificial life thus becomes the ultimate transfiguring salvation of our species. Finally, the collapse of the Big Bang universe will bring everything to a close. So, this is the modern myth. The modern myth is that the universe began with a big bang, so it has a unique occurrence, and then through evolution over millions and zillions of years, uh, different animals have evolved, and human beings, they also evolved only once, and they began evolving, and in the future also this is going to continue, and then ultimately through science we will achieve salvation. This is of course a modern myth, but you can see there's a lot of similarity between the Judeo-Christian concept of linear time and the modern concept of linear time. In both, we find rejection of this very important concept of cyclical time. But we should understand that the Srimad Bhagavatam, right at the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a description of cyclical time. You find here Janma Adi, creation, sustenance, and destruction. Krishna is the source of this. So the universe is created, it is sustained, and it is destroyed. So this is cyclical time.